Gobble, gobble, motherfucker.
They're eating her. And then they're going to eat me. Oh my God!
Estrogen levels peaking. It's like she's in heat.
When are you gonna grow up, man? Chicks love cars. If you want to get into their pants, you better have a nice, hot Ferrari.
She's my hot Ferrari. Besides, I love my Mustang, which is a plug-in hybrid. It gets 100 mpg.
Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast! Ah! Out of my eyes!
Welcome to episode 16 of Schlock Talk. Wondering exactly what a hard ticket is and why it makes our groin area mucous membranes so moist. Since 2013, I'm Gabe.
I'm Alan.
Paul.
Joel.
Craig. So tonight's movie is Hard Ticket to Hawaii from 1987, directed by Andy Sedaris. This movie is currently available on YouTube for everyone's viewing pleasure. I should say, too, I watched this with my wife, and she absolutely hated it.
Why did she hate this awesome movie?
What's not to love?
There's plenty of glistening pecs for her pleasure, right? Anyway, yeah, she really hated this movie.
Her pleasure.
Yeah.
We all know it was you that had your hand under the blankets during that scene.
Why was your wife not under the blanket as well, Gabe? What's wrong?
She's a beard. Okay, so, official Hard Ticket to Hawaii intro. On my way to Portland to record today's installment, I stopped at McDonald's and had a sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle. I think from this point forward, I'm going to order a sausage McGriddle, add cheese, no egg, please. I ordered a sausage McGriddle once, and the kind lady behind the counter threw a slice of cheese on there, and it was delicious. I had one of those Taco Bell waffle tacos recently, and that shit was terrible. A true mouth holocaust, if there ever was one. I can definitely appreciate the vibrant cultures our immigrant population bring to the U.S., but you heard it here first. Mexicans don't know how to make breakfast.
Schlock Talk viewers, we would like to apologize. This has not been one of Gabe's better intros. Better things are to come.
Yeah,
Continue.
You're confused that waffle taco is not meant for eating.
Gabe, what's it for?
It's meant...
Scouring the toilet.
Okay, so have you heard of the Fleshlight? Imagine one that's easily distributable and you can buy for $1.50.
You get it warm.
That's true. That makes a difference.
I have a feeling the misery I experienced while choking down the waffle taco was not unlike the feelings victims of the Aztec sacrifices felt when they had their still-beating hearts ripped from their chests and then were decapitated, only to have their heads kicked down the stairs of the pyramid.
Yeah, you stole that from Apocalypto.
Schlock Talk viewers, we don't know what this intro is about just as of yet, any more than you do.
Anyway,
so don't worry.
I think I like the cheese slices they use at McDonald's the best. Speaking of slices of cheese, this episode's movie is Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Oh, wow, we're a movie podcast?
I thought we reviewed bad breakfast food.
I thought we were going to talk about KFC and Burger King next.
All the work I put into reconstructing the site to be a foodie freaking fetish central.
So tonight's movie, Hard Ticket to Hawaii, is the compelling story of some very 80s people sporting some very 80s hairstyles, doing things like wearing easily the most questionable standard government-issue law enforcement uniforms in history, and the never-seen but no doubt accompanying military-industrial complex G-strings, blowing up the serene Hawaiian countryside with rocket launchers, and casually making comments about raping restaurant staff, for the sake of humor. So, tonight's movie is Hard Ticket to Hawaii, and the movie opens on a gorgeous Hawaiian sunset, and we meet, whoa, God, what is her name? I can't even remember the main lady's name. Somebody pull
Are you thinking of food again?
Yeah, I'm thinking of food.
Her name is Waffle Taco.
Her name is Waffle Taco.
It might as well be.
So, the main character...
Waffle Taco.
And she's making out with Rowdy, who is like... there's some sort of law enforcement operators.
They're part of the...
What's her name?
Donna Hamilton?
Donna. Okay, yeah. Donna and Rowdy are making out. And Donna wants to stay with Rowdy, but she has to go... he has to go to Molokai so they decide to make out. That's about the movie so far, right?
Topless makeout scene on a boat. I don't know. Florida? Florida's close to Hawaii, right?
You can tell this is an old movie because they're real boobs.
I think that's questionable.
And they work for the agency.
They do.
They obey the law of gravity.
My wife was really grossed out by Rowdy's hips in this scene.
Are they childbearing hips?
I don't know.
Gabe knows. Gabe knows.
And so after this, we see two Hawaiian cops, and they're coming to bust some weed growers. But they're not too worried about it because they actually mentioned that they get kickbacks from the weed farmers. And when they get there...
These guys are ridiculous. Like, they can't even afford uniforms that fit. They both look like freaking boys.
They look like exterminators.
No, they look like little freaking boys.
Isn't their socks like pulled all the way out?
Yeah, and
Yes, and the
they're
Hawaiian
wearing
cops
trucker
wear
hats
short
that are
shorts.
like way too big. They're like an inch too big for their head. Like, how is it even like kept in place? They must have like killer perms underneath there.
Well, the costume shop didn't have a lot to offer that day.
And so when they get to the weed farm, there's too many howlies working there.
Howlies?
And they know that something's up.
Please define howlies for me.
Howlie is like it's like gringo for Hawaiians. That's what they call the white people. Yeah.
Okay.
What's gringo? Is that kind of like spam?
Yeah.
Craig would like to mention that it was Gabe that made the racist comment that time. Thank you.
However, please still direct your comments to Craig is racist. At Schlock Talk.
Is not racist.
Might I add, also, these Hollies also have a dump truck, and they're dumping something? I don't really know.
So
There's a useful aside.
They're taking a dump on my dignity.
Speaking of which, I don't know if you guys heard about this Kickstarter. That it was a documentary to see if Atari really did dump all those ET cartridges in the landfill in New Mexico.
Yeah.
And IGN was actually there live when they had an excavation crew.
Was it like the Geraldo Rivera opening the
No,
vault
they're
of
there.
Al Capone?
They're really there.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Did they plug him in and see if they still worked?
I don't know.
Oh, it's a shame.
Who wants to play that game?
No one.
They're there is epic.
And that, my friends, signals the coming of the Antichrist.
Can they
They've unloosed him.
We should have kept them buried.
Yeah.
It's a portal to hell.
A hellmouth. An ET Atari 2600 cartridge related hellmouth.
4-bit hell.
I need more vodka in my drink.
So the two cops get caught in like a
snare.
trap.
Yeah, it's just like this perfectly placed snare.
And then they get shotgunned by the bad guys.
Yes, by Chubby McSkeleton Ear and
The blonde guy
Going
is
bald
the
blondie.
frisbee guy from later on in the movie. The blonde guy is the frisbee
Well,
guy.
the frisbee
Well,
guy,
there's two
the
blonde
frisbee
guys.
guy is douchey McSilver glasses.
yes,
Okay.
But then we also have mustache McPoofy
Skater
hair.
Man.
Yeah.
Skater Man. Well, you'll figure that out later. But
And
it's,
so after this, apparently the warehouse from Mr. No Legs is now in Hawaii and getting side work as the credits for Andy Sedaris and his crappy movies.
It's very interesting. There's almost one theme that links all the movies we seem to have watched.
What's that?
Rape?
Well, for instance,
animal mutilation.
for instance, this movie,
They fucking suck.
for instance, this movie, what it has in common with Mr. No Legs is the warehouse scene, a bunch of dickheads moving boxes around. And the feeling that part of my soul is being amputated right now.
I think the current theme here is lack of plot. I mean, that's pretty much the safe bet.
You're reading between the lines, Craig. No, you have to look at the shallow, the shallow differences. Just be superficial. Look at the surface.
And I like how the director used computer graphics to make it look like that it was just paper taped to boxes where names had been spray painted on the paper using stencils. It's a very good technique. That
Very subtle use of
Yes.
CGI. Yes.
Yes, I thought it was a good use of the money.
But the forklift guy accidentally opens one of the cages.
Yes, one of the snakes was supposed to go to like a kid's 5-year-old birthday party or some shit like that. And the other one was like immediately supposed to be incinerated.
It's a radioactive toxic snake. Oh no. No, the forklift guy doesn't like pop the cage open. He accidentally hits all the caution tape and the warning signs get knocked off the box.
Okay. And he has a sweet pair of Reeboks, by
Yeah,
the way, too.
in this box that
Kicking
says
pair of
caution
Reeboks.
all over it is the most rickety piece of shit box compared to where everything else, like the plastic Barbie shit that you see sent from China, is in all these nice sturdy boxes. But no, let's put the dangerous snake in a box made of balsa wood
And paper.
with baling twine for fucking handles.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you, by airplane, transport a dangerous snake that you're trying to dispose of? Was there no, garbage disposal in your area that would have taken care of the job?
You couldn't swing it hard enough at the ground?
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, they sent it to Hawaii because that's how you make spam.
Oh, that makes sense.
Cancer-ridden snakes.
Finally, something to kill all those pigs that are growing on the island.
So meanwhile, Donna is in her slightly modified military uniform. At least that's what I first thought. But then when Taylor shows up, she's got the exact same uniform on, so I have to believe this was actually issued by a government agency.
No, I think it's like Reno 911 where the guy just made his own uniform. He's
Is
like,
that a dangle?
it's within regulations.
Oh my god, that is exactly what it looks like, because he wears cowboy boots with it sometimes.
Maybe he's a fan of this film.
It could be.
It could be a reference to it, yes.
So the two of them, after Taylor has a topless outdoor
Shower scene.
For all to see.
which I appreciated, they drive to the airport warehouse and they pick something up, and it's the snake, right? But it's the wrong snake.
Correct. They had the kid's birthday party snake they were supposed to pick up, and instead they got Toxic Avenger snake,
Yeah.
and things go horribly wrong.
Well, it's just funny because I guess they work for an agency, but then it was like, so they're like freaking tour pilots or something like that?
I think that's their cover.
That's their
Tour
cover.
pilot
Oh.
/ delivery service / romantic visage service, because they pick up honeymooners as well.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Because you're always going to take a snake and honeymooners
Yeah,
to the
they-
same place because they got some kinky shit going
They got
on
the
there.
wrong snake. Basically, it's like an episode of Three's Company.
What do you mean you got the labels mixed up?
Come and knock on my door.
And so one of the
Have a
guys at the
serpent or
warehouse,
two.
one of the guys at the warehouse says, "Ew, this is a gnarly looking snake, a nasty looking snake."
Was he naked and looking in the mirror?
No, he wasn't.
Sorry, Paul.
'Cause that's what I say.
You say worm, not snake.
And so they pick up the snake, and I have to say, there is no way in hell I would ever get into a plane with either of these chicks flying it.
Exactly, because they're in their frickin' uniforms.
But I would get into either one of those chicks.
Flying the plane!
See, the thing
It's
is,
just funny because when they're looking and doing the inspection for the plane and everything like that, instead of making sure instruments are calibrated and blah, blah, they're just like playing around with it like they're a kid that's seen a plane for the frickin' first time in their life.
see, there's a horror movie that was, well, not a horror movie, but sort of a thriller that was made of this. They put a snake in the Blondes on the Plane, and it was called Blondes on a Plane, 'cause that was the scary part of the movie right there.
And the job of the snake was to kill the blondes.
And Samuel
And
Jackson
save
would
the
have
day.
nothing to do with this project.
I'm sick of these motherfucking blondes on this
motherfucking plane!
And so while they're flying the plane, which apparently they're able to do,
It's got
we
autopilot.
have our first of 2 hard ticket theme songs for the show.
I love this song. Can we crank the song up for everybody?
And then the couple, they're also transporting this honeymoon couple to just kind of like drop them off on the island. And they're making out in the back of the plane.
Borderline fucking in the back of the plane.
Yeah, I thought it was going to go there, and I was kind of surprised that it didn't.
I was upset because all you need is a friggin' sex scene on a plane piloted by 2 blondes with a friggin' toxic snake in the back.
Yeah.
I like as part of their pre-ops, it's her not turning the lights on, but adjusting the focus of the lights. Like, oh, this knob turns here.
Well, when she's reading her comic books mid-flight, she wants to make sure that the lighting is appropriate.
Those are actually her flight instructions that were made as a comic book.
Warning.
The manual.
Warning, if you cannot count to 20, do not fly this plane.
And it's not a wide-angle shot of her, like, taxiing down the runway either, so either they had to get, like, permission, or they had to like teach her for 7 to 8 years on how to and how to be able just to taxi down the runway just a little bit in an aircraft.
You know, that makes sense, because if you see how her boobs sag throughout the movie, it's kind of like rings on a tree.
I bet you in post he was like, no, we got to fix this. So send her now. So it's like been 5 years.
Oh my god. And she
gotta
really looks like everybody else in this movie's grandma, by the way.
Yes.
Donna Spire.
That's right. Gabe says the younger the better.
Oh my god. Listen, I still work for child welfare. Give me another couple of weeks and you can make jokes like that. So, back at the warehouse, they realize that there's been a snake mix-up.
Don't!
And they have...
He probably had like a freaking code. We got a 318 here at the warehouse.
It's a snake mix-up. That's a code, the Hawaiian criminal code for snake mix-up.
That's a very specific code.
Isn't that police terminology for when you get it stuck in your fly?
So we find out their snake that they have is contaminated. And then also Taylor, the kind of younger blonde, she has nunchucks. I believe these are the first Schlock nunchucks that we've run into this far, isn't it?
Set of nunchucks.
I believe it's pronounced nunchaku.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nunchaku.
I think they were just a glorified thigh master that she was hauling around. I don't know.
To be a bit douchebaggy about the pronunciation of things.
And it's funny that she's got nunchucks because they both look like they have freaking lightsabers hanging off their goddamn satchels or whatever.
What is it? What are they? I can't see the picture very well. What is it?
I don't know. They're like little mag lights or something, but they look like lightsabers.
Dildos.
Light dildos?
Light dildos.
Wom wom.
Hey, it's dark in those caves.
She's also wearing a Batman-style utility belt with a Swiss Army knife and a pair of pliers.
Hey, they're kinky.
And so the warehouse guy tries to call the girls on the plane, but they've already gotten out, and they're like showing the newlyweds to wherever it is they're going to go camping.
And we get to watch this scene like 8 more frickin' times throughout the movie.
Yeah. And so, meanwhile, while all this is happening, there's an evil man on an evil yacht, and he has an evil plan with an evil remote control helicopter.
An evil hat with an evil accent.
And a blue ascot on, and a fucking cane.
An evil cane and an evil blue ascot.
Is that a cane, or is that like the Cruella de Vil cigarette holder?
Yeah, exactly. You know, he looks like a Disney villain.
Looks like Anthony Hopkins' retarded brother.
And so this remote control...
Is that the captain from Captain and Sunil?
And so the helicopter, the remote control helicopter, it flies onto the island where the girls are, and the door opens up and there's drugs or something in there?
It's funny because they look at it.
I think we're forgetting a technological milestone that's been surpassed here. That you could remotely control fly a helicopter miles away with a stick remote crane or cane
cigarette
holder thing to a island you can't even fucking see from the boat, and then pilot it safely down
to the landing spot.
Agreed
upon
to deliver drugs. See,
I like
guys,
how
these were the early test flights for the Amazon drones.
Yeah.
I like how they gloss over mind-bendingly.
They're just like, what is that? It's like, well, obviously it's a miniature helicopter.
Obviously.
At first they thought it was a large mosquito because they're blonde.
But they have this technology, and the people
it's a bird.
The people are riding up on motorcycles instead of jet bikes.
Those are ATVs. Come on. Get it right.
And so
they're not cool enough to ride motorcycles.
They open up the helicopter and they take out some sort of package.
It's a teeny package!
It's a teeny little remote control helicopter.
Is that what the ladies say to you?
Yeah.
It's like
Gabe
it's
knows
like
all
the
about the teeny
Smurfs went
packages.
camping. And they put their luggage on top of their little tiny Smurf SUV, and they wanted to keep it safe, so they bought the little Smurf metal containers to keep their belongings in.
La 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 la, we're going off topic.
And then this is like the first misuse of nunchakas.
It is.
Yes.
So they get attacked,
and ninja stars.
a couple of the bad guys are there to pick up the package from the helicopter, but then the girls attack them, And Taylor actually throws her nunchucks and hits one of the guys in the face.
Well, the other one keeps her like sheriff's badge.
She must have taken a.
She's a shuriken. She's
must have
shurikens
been-
No, it's like a
on her.
badge.
It's a
No,
shuriken.
it's like a ninja star. She grabs it out of her pocket. It's a ninja star.
Shuriken.
It does look like a
Shuriken,
sheriff's badge,
okay.
but That's pretty funny.
Those
Throwing
shorts
star.
didn't have pockets.
Was it her
No, they
Schlock?
went straight up her ass,
And it's
though.
funny because she hits the fat guy, and the fat
Yeah.
guy makes this look
That's
on
where
his
I
face.
keep my shurikens.
She like happens to hit the fat guy with it, and he makes a look on his face that like he's just having a heart attack while he's taking a shit.
Some pizza here. Pizza here.
No, this is my dog was roaming around causing havoc.
Wow.
And so
That never happens.
One of the thug guys says, "I dread facing Seth empty-handed."
I like how when the helicopter's flying away, not like 2 feet in front of these people, they fall down in dismay. You fuckers both have shotguns. Number one, you're defeated by 2 chicks who threw a shuriken at you and a pair of nunchucks at you, and you both are armed with weapons.
Yeah. I would like to mention
And
that
you just let the airplane go.
It's Final Fantasy rules. A sword always beats a firearm.
And last time I checked, nunchucks were not an aerodynamic weapon to throw at people. They just aren't.
And
No,
so,
that's my... No, listen, that is a fantastic form of fighting. Every time I've been in a fight since I was 12, that's what I do. I find something and I throw it at you. You're too busy feeding off the shit that was just thrown at your face that you don't expect my 2 fists coming right by afterwards.
Especially when you got a
Oh,
shotgun in your hand.
It's true. I fought Alan, and it's really... It's... the
Well,
way-
it's not the attack, it's the rape afterwards. That is just so humiliating.
Well, the first time he threw an Uzi at me.
yeah.
And the second time he pulls out a switchblade, closes it, hucks it at my groin. It's a very effective.
The two of you
method.
need to stop fighting. That's what the problem is.
Kiss and make up.
And so Taylor
It's
and
like
Donna,
the
they get
foreplay.
away on the plane. And Donna's... Well, then they read about the snake. Like, they have, like, the proper care and feeding of snakes book that they're reading.
That's because she forgot her comic book from the fight.
And don't forget that the snake had just finished blowing somebody because there was way too much cum in that snake's mouth. They do a close-up on the snake and it's like, oh, help me, I've been mouth raped.
Yeah, those blondes
That was
needed a
one of the
fluffer
stage
between
hands.
takes.
They weren't filming. Everyone else was at the lunch break, and he's like, I'll be right there.
And Donna says, "Let's unload and hit the jacuzzi. I do my best thinking there."
Yes. No setup there, everybody.
Yes, totally not setting up a scene for porno.
Yeah. Last time I was attacked by guys with shotguns, I went to the jacuzzi afterwards, too.
Hey, do you realize what we just went through?
Blonde's thinking.
And so the two girls strip down to just their G-strings, get in the hot tub, and look at what they stole out of the helicopter, which it turns out is diamonds, not drugs. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Next we go to Edie's, which is the main kind of restaurant in the movie. The main restaurant.
The only
in the
freaking
movie.
restaurant. Yeah, on commenting on Alan, that is a pretty jizz encrusted snake when they look at it. Like, seriously.
That's what the ladies say about mine.
I was like, I think that must have been what... I can explain that. Remember the couple were fucking in the back of the plane? They never got off the plane. Did you see them get off the plane? I think they stayed back there the entire time, finished the
And he
job,
jerked off
and
did
did a
give
money
the
shot on the
snake a
snake.
facial.
It's like, hey, honey, want to see me jerk off in this snake's head?
And so one of the staff at the restaurant sits down with the director of the movie, who's playing like a TV producer in this.
So it's like a Stan Lee cameo again.
Yeah.
And don't forget, at the beginning of the show, if you're watching on YouTube, he shows up as a rapist who has a model in a American bikini suit explain about the movie in front of a bunch of posters.
Yeah, that's actually Julie Strain, and she's married to one of the guys who created the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Wait, like the
That
comic?
tall, black-haired lady. Yeah, the comic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Eastman and Laird or whatever those guys' names
Obviously, he married her for creative influence, right?
Exactly.
They must not be making a lot of money if he lets her get groped for a living. You know what? Go over there, let this creepy old man touch on your boobies like he's trying to get a radio station from Mars.
Nope.
Daddy needs his money.
Nothing yet.
So this poor lady at the restaurant's getting hit on by Andy Sedaris, and she says that he almost raped her last night. And then the waitress from the restaurant comes over with her boobs like kind of sticking out fairly pronouncedly, and the director orders a pair of coffee. I thought that was great.
That was.
He doesn't even make eye contact with her; he just stares at her boobs. A pair of coffee. It was like wife sitting down at the table with him. I can't remember.
Yeah.
How does Andy Sedaris get the money to make these films? Is it like I like to think that perhaps an entire pile of cocaine suddenly became conscious and grew a body, and it just freaking shoots money out of its fucking hands? Like, how is this guy making movies?
I think it's date rape drugs. What he does is he finds these men. He date rapes their wives and shows them footage of it and says, listen, if you don't help me finance these movies, I'm going to show footage of this shit. And they're like, well, fuck, man, I got to help you. Otherwise, my life is ruined. And so they give him money. And now he's making these not terrible movies.
And so kind of the main bad guy, Seth Romero, he goes to the restaurant here, and he's met by the two thugs who got beat up by the girls earlier, right?
Yeah, it's whatchamacallit, Lucille Ball's husband.
Ricky Ricardo.
Lucy!
And he tells these two guys if brains were bird shit, they'd have a clean cage.
Confucius say...
If brains were bird shit, you'd have a clean cage.
Caca.
And so while all this is happening, boobs.
Yay.
You guys aren't there yet, but there's boobs coming.
Yep.
Oh, wait, hey, Mr. Science, Alan. Do boobs float?
Oh, okay, so the boobs. That was a reference to the jacuzzi scene.
Yeah.
There's so many boobs, it's really hard to keep track of. So they open up...
We need a boobometer.
They're in the jacuzzi, and they open up the package that they got out of the helicopter, and there's diamonds in it.
We need one of those little, like, silver things that you press, you know? Chick, 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 chick. But would you press it once or twice when they come on screen?
Well, you can count pairs or individual boobs. It's up to you. It's really a personal choice.
I also like how when they're pouring out the priceless diamonds that are probably worth millions of dollars, they're just like dumping it out like it's a bag of swag they just got from
in the hot tub.
Hillbilly buttfucker, the marijuana dealer. Like, you know what won't disappear as soon as it touches water? Diamonds.
And so they find out that the thieves are doing some sort of diamond smuggling in addition to all the cantaloupe smuggling that happens in this movie. And so while
those are grapefruits.
You call him Ricky Ricardo, I call him low rent Lorenzo Lamas.
Lorento Lamas?
Yes, Lorento Lamas. Two of them, they're kung fu fighting and making fun of Asians during this scene. He keeps saying, like, Confucius say and all this stuff.
Those boobs are better lighting.
It's funny because they're both wearing gis, and, like, can you imagine if, like, you were just walking on the pier and saw these two fucking nut jobs fucking doing karate in the freaking, like, cockpit of their fucking boat?
Ken and Ryu cosplay. I don't know what else is going on.
So, while this is all happening, they get orders from the agency in a sandwich delivery. Right?
Yes.
The guy like drives out onto the dock with his bike on his mini bike. Okay.
And the agency can't even spring for a good sandwich. I mean,
how
like shitty are they?
It looks like ham, lettuce, and tomato on white.
And even though you touched on it, I really do think you're glossing over the extreme amount of racism that happens in the scene.
The Confucius quote was
like such a white person view of it
Latino
too. They were
delivery boy.
racist. Holy fuck! Like every word they said was just dripping in racism.
Yeah, white
this
bread.
Is so beautiful.
Yeah, white bread.
I need to check my privilege.
Not only that, but this Asian dude rides up on this cycle.
Yeah,
like so Asian-y.
Did he crash?
Asianese.
Oh, it's just terrible.
It'd just be awesome.
It's very Oriental of him.
Yeah, no, wouldn't it be cool to like be like I don't know of a culture and then go see a couple of white dorks improperly emulating your culture and emulating a stereotype of your culture.
Well, living the dream as a sandwich delivery boy.
You guys like, I'm glad I jerked off in your sandwich before I delivered it to you.
Not only that, but the first thing I do when I get a sandwich is I check for a fucking secret message. I'm like, hey, thanks for my sandwich, buddy. Lift up bread. Oh, no note from secret agency. Safe to eat. Not to light on fire.
So after they read the instructions from the agency, they don't. It doesn't like self-destruct. They have to like set it all on fire.
And that shit burns like it had kerosene doused on it.
Why couldn't they just fucking put it back on the sandwich and eat it?
Yeah, like...
You see that sandwich? Who the fuck wants to eat that?
It's clearly flash paper, but it melts the styrofoam and the sandwich gets slightly tinged and they close the package like, it's over now. Bitch, eat the sandwich.
And just to be clear that these guys are not racist only towards Asians, he says, Kimosabi, there's trouble in paradise.
Well, hey, lighting the sandwich on fire was actually craft services' idea. That's how they made grilled cheese for everyone.
Oh, okay. So we find out that this movie is like super meta because they have a movie poster for the prequel to this movie in this movie.
And there's boobs in boobs.
Not only that, but it's a close-up of it, and they mention it.
Yes.
They talk about it.
It's funny. Were they referring to it as a movie, even though they were in the freaking... I don't know. I'm just confused. It's kind of like, imagine
They
if...
should talk about the poster, and one of them's like, yeah, I like them, have them around.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, that's just like so fucking shameless.
It's so weird.
It's shameless, but they're saying it's like a movie. So were they movie stars? Why are they referring to their past experience as a freaking movie?
Sense.
Yeah,
they're playing the characters that they were in the last movie.
Guys, I don't think this movie is film student quality like Ebola was.
Guys, we're talking about a movie where two blondes fly an airplane.
Yeah.
Already the realm of credibility is just shot to hell.
This is science fiction.
The laws of physics do not apply.
And if
here.
it's not a science fiction, it's certainly set in the future.
It's fantasy, Alan.
And so Donna talks to Taylor about the guy on the poster, about how he like banged Taylor, and she asked him about his dick. And she says
Did he have a dick?
She says he had 4 inches, and she's like, 4 inches? And she goes, from the ground up.
It's
pretty awesome.
What if he was laying down, though? Like, on his stomach?
If you can get 3 inches that way, you got a dick that's way, that's pumping you up pretty good right there, my friend. You got a strong dick.
I can do push-ups with my dick.
Plus, what does that say about her? That she's able to accept a man that's like a good 27 inches long?
A man that couldn't possibly fit his entire member inside her?
Okay, well, we saw jizz in the snake's mouth earlier. What do you think they were doing with a tail end?
So while all this is happening, they're kind of reminiscing about the last movie they were in, because that makes sense. They get attacked by ninjas. Nylon ninjas.
Are there more nunchucks thrown?
Yeah, it's funny.
I don't remember if there are.
Yeah,
by nunchucks you mean titties. Yeah. Lots of nunchucks are thrown all over the place.
Yeah, it was cute because they cut
They're bouncing everywhere. Nunchucks.
As prior to the ninjas infiltrating it, they like cut a coax cable for like cable TV, and somehow that takes their phones out.
Yeah.
They had internet.
They're digital phones.
Yeah,
It's
digital
1988. They had digital phones back then.
Digital
Wait, no,
phones?
they didn't.
Science fiction.
Why do people carry nunchucks in this movie?
Why wouldn't they?
Because
They might as
Michelangelo
well
was
be
their
carrying
favorite
around like
Ninja
a loaf
Turtle.
of French bread, the way they're using these. At least they could have a snack after they're done, like, retardedly poking people with them and tossing them.
And so the two ninjas are like, they're after the diamond, but while they're fighting, somehow the snake gets loose while all this is happening?
No, he's threatening her with scissors.
Okay.
Because that's what they come armed with. Scissors.
That's what they... Yeah. It's not like he found it there. He's got panties over his head. This motherfucker's not prepared. What I'm saying is, like, after this, you don't hire this guy to do whatever the fuck you want done anymore. Because obviously, he's going to bring garden shears in a world where there's fucking Uzis and shotguns galore. He's like, no, my weapon, I'm going to clip her bushes while I'm there. So I might as well bring some garden shears.
I'm pretty sure those were more like nose hair trimmers.
If you look at these girls, I mean, that's a pretty viable threat.
I guess.
He's like, listen, you give me the diamonds, or I'm giving you a really shitty pedicure.
Next time you should go with safety scissors.
This is a time of glorious pubic hair, so that could be a huge threat to her.
It could be, yeah.
Hey, once again, I said this was a fantasy film. Beards. Cave trolls. Beards.
And so Donna isn't going to tell them where the diamonds are, but then Taylor folds like a cheap halter top and tells her that they're in the freezer. The ninjas, the bad guys, think that there's a second box of diamonds, but the girls don't have that.
There are a second box of diamonds.
Right, but they fell off in the
when
woods.
they were rescuing it from the helicopter.
Right.
And shit.
And so Romero shows up at the house.
Come back.
What's that?
This will come back.
Yes. Romero shows up at the place, and he sees the snake like a good 100 yards away, and starts like shitting
Don't
himself.
you mean Seth?
Seth Romero.
Oh, is that his full name?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a little bit of a pussy. That Seth.
Yeah.
I also like how when the other guys come out, they yell his name at the top of their lungs.
Yeah.
Seth Romero, your home address, social security number, Romero.
I also like how you guys are also downplaying the amount of bouncing titties just in this scene. In every scene in general, it just should be like mentioned, like, hey, you know what? These girls, their halter tops barely cover their nipples, and they're bouncing around every which way.
We should just
They shoot Seth in the mouth, right?
They shoot him in the face. Donna shoots him in the face.
Alan, I'm watching the movie over Joel's shoulder, and I gotta say, I'm just sick of the boobs at this point.
Yeah, it's just
It's
like...
very gratuitous. It's kind of like the director had his own little booth on scene so he could jack off all the time.
Jizz in the snake's mouth.
It's like he had an agenda.
It's
other
hard to
than
keep this
telling
snake
the
puppet
story.
lubricated.
It's like Andy Sedaris had an agenda other than telling a gripping thriller story about drug running in Hawaii.
I know, this guy's such a bastard. First he's like, you know what? I got one of the creators of the Turtles' wife's titties on speed dial. And now I make these garbage movies.
And so the snake escapes from everybody. And the warehouse guy, whose name is Dixon, he finally gets a hold of the girls.
Dick's in.
A box.
He gets a hold of the girls and he tells them that the snake has been infected by deadly toxins from cancer-infested rats.
Wait, so
Ebola.
cancer-infected rats basically poke the snake with toxins, tainted needles, right? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just curious how many people have not gotten a hold of these girls.
Wait, deadly toxins from cancer-infested rats?
Right.
The snake listened to our podcast?
Clearly. It's funny because this guy or whatever, the warehouse manager / I don't know, pilot, control tower guy, has been there. It's nighttime, so he like never left the freaking office for like 8 hours or something.
Like hours later, and he's still been trying to get hold of him.
He's glued to his chair.
I like to think that maybe he was just talking on ham radio or some crap like that.
And all this shit is going on. Why the fuck hasn't anybody called the cops? Not a single person has called the cops while all this is happening.
And is this a scene you're alluding to where they read?
Oh no, they read earlier when they get the snake out of the plane. They have like that snakes like care and feeding.
Oh, that's
the snakes.
right.
Yeah.
Because they also do it here, so it's like they're reinforcing the fact that these blondes are smart because she's reading newspaper articles.
It is a very empowering film for women.
See, look here.
I've had both my daughters watch this.
She's like learning it for the first time. A snake is a reptile with no arms and legs. Its body is covered with scales.
I was like, daughters, this is what a woman looks like. Now, you feel inadequate.
And the other girl goes, I just like the pictures.
Oh, it's like a big, long string of spaghetti.
And so
the other one's like, I just like how the words look on the page. It's like hieroglyphics.
Maybe it's a spell.
So the girls talk about how they're kind of like James Bond for a little bit. And I think Donna says that James Bond would have shot all three of the bad guys. Hint, there were only two.
At this point, she says, can I borrow a pencil?
He showed up after.
I want to play connect the dots with the periods in the book.
And then she said that James Bond would have killed all three bad guys and then casually strolled in here and jumped our bones.
Where did that phrase originate?
I don't know, but it's great.
I like to think maybe some sick, grave fucking asshole made that. I'm gonna go jump her bones. I'm like, you're gonna have sex with her? No, I'm gonna fuck her bones after she's decayed in the ground for a little while.
And
Well, yes. In In 1994, after Snoop Dogg first popularized the phrase boner, the term bones was then created for the term of the penis.
Boner was
And then,
popularized in 1994.
In about 1997-96, the time period there, which is highly disputed amongst bonologists, they believe that the term "jump your bones" was first used, and it quickly meandered to get on your bones, and then to finally fuck your bones out of your bony bonehead.
It was at this point in time when Snoop Dogg was dabbling in necrophilia.
He went from Snoop Dogg to Snoop Lion Dead. Lion Dead Dog. Snoop Lion Dead Dog.
Jesus, stop the really dumb tangent right now, please.
So later on,
Let lying dogs lie.
back at Edie's restaurant, the host asks Taylor to sit on his face, and she asks him if his nose is bigger than his dick. And they meet Edie in her
I'm
private
gonna say,
booth.
yeah, it is.
Because what does it matter? I'm going to eat your pussy, bitch.
He's a gigantic dick.
I feel like the next words out of people's mouths isn't like it should be, and I'm drunk and saying weird things.
Which
Sorry, I
is
just wanted to
is
do
every
this
podcast.
Yeah.
And so they meet with Edie in her private booth, and you know that this agency has got some real funding issues if they have to rely on Edie for intelligence. And then there's this. This is the now infamous vitamin selling scene for the
Jesus. That's how they funded the whole friggin' thing, apparently.
There's
Yeah,
a
way to
couple
get
of
your name
football
out there.
players.
We'll put just this scene up on the page.
It makes no fucking sense.
It is
They were
beautiful.
baseball players, by the way.
Like,
No, they were football players.
No, these were the baseball
It
players.
said
at
several
first.
times that they were there for the football.
Look
That
at
was
that guy's
the
arms.
next
whatever the
That guy's
fuck they're,
forearms. That's Mark McGuire.
whatever they're there for, the blonde dude he's pitching him for, it's like the director said, you need to look the most retarded look you could fucking possibly think of. Like someone's explaining you astrophysics, and this guy's like, oh, vitamins, man, I take this one because it makes my skin look good. And I take this one because it makes my penis slightly larger.
It basically, they said, okay, this is your motivation, your thought. You're in an Andy Sedaris film, and you've just realized that this is the whole future of your acting career. Go!
I think that this is, once again, Andy Sedaris injecting something he has an interest in into the movie. So the remote control helicopter's in earlier. Semen. Tits.
Yeah,
Tits.
and also the way he takes the pills. It's like he's jacking a dick off in his mouth.
It makes no sense.
He's like, he takes the pills, puts them in his mouth, puts his hand up to his mouth, and then, like, bumps it up and down like he's bouncing them in, like, oh, yeah, get those pills in my mouth, get them in my mouth, oh, got all the pills in my mouth. And then he takes a drink like he's gargling cum.
Yeah.
It is the most sexual thing I've seen in this film,
And then
there's been, like, 20 bits of titties.
Yeah. And there's going to be a lot more titties. And,
And the look on his face after he takes the pills,
Craig.
as if he just had a 14th orgasm in a row. And he's like, I'm done. Like, if I died right now, I'm done.
Craig, you got any vitamins?
I do. You got vitamin CUM. Just for you.
If by vitamins you mean
somehow
drugs,
I saw
then
that
I'm the
coming.
person you should be talking to.
And so the two kung fu guys that were on the boat from earlier call up the girls on the phone, but there's somebody spying.
Hi
on them.
guys, what are you doing? Nothing. What are you doing?
Somebody? Isn't that Steve Buscemi in drag?
There's somebody working at the restaurant that's spying on Edie and the girls while they're talking with the kung fu guys from earlier.
Yeah, obviously not a man.
Yes.
Obviously not a man-woman that's spying on them.
That's an Eve's peach, not an Adam's apple. Okay.
Not that I'm judging, mind you. It's just that the movie is clearly trying to make you think
Except
that
that
this
it's covered
woman's...
with peach fuzz.
That's not a man's a man. That's obviously a man that's dressed as a woman. Which is fine. I'm saying, I don't care. But clearly, the movie is trying to fool you.
Yes.
Spoilers, bitches.
When they get off the phone with the guys, one of the girls says, "See you later, stud." I found it pretty awesome.
I'm
And
using
then-
that from now on.
Yeah.
My boss is going to be like, have a good day, Joel. I'll
And
be
so
like,
just-
see you
just-
later, stud.
You'll get a raise.
Just to hammer the point home that sexual harassment is just one of the greatest things. Right before this whole kind of scene ends, there's another part where the host of the restaurant tells somebody that if you go down on her, and I don't remember who he's talking about, you're going to be kissing the back of my head because I'll already be there.
That's classy shit right there, man.
That's classy.
Jesus.
It's not inappropriate.
Greasy.
So after all this happens, we find out that, is her name Taryn or Taylor? Because I've written down at different points using different names. So let me pull up IMDb.
Someone turned off Paul's phone so it stops
fucking
interrupting the whole thing.
Grace.
It's Taryn. Shit. I've been calling her Taylor almost the whole time.
Oh my
So-
god, what a massive plot point
Let's
we fucked up
We
on.
gotta re-record the podcast.
no!
We gotta
Gabe
start over.
ruined it.
Blonde number...
He ruined everything.
Oh my god.
On the bright side,
No.
Gabe, blonde number 1 can't even remember her own name either, so it's okay.
It makes me feel good.
Why is your daughter chiming you, Paul? What does she want? Why is she interrupting our podcast?
His ding dong is met by Paul's phone once a fucking again.
I'm sorry. Alan, my daughter just texted me this.
Is she pregnant?
What is that?
Oh my god!
Is
You have the coolest fucking kid ever. If I ever got a fucking message from my kid like that, I would just die happy. Oh my god.
Oh,
It's
wow.
like she's never allowed to see Olivia ever again.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Okay, I'm going to describe this for our listeners. I believe it's the emaciated dead body that's actually a living corpse in the movie Seven, giving a hand job with what looks like feet for hands
It's
I
like
tell you what she
to a
did.
penis that has some sort of bulbous growth on its head.
it's like someone took one of the blondes from this movie and squeezed her tit so hard that her tit came out.
I tell you what, imagine.
The rest of our body.
She went to
flowing
the
out.
future, 200 years from now, and found a current picture of Emma Watson giving Brad Pitt a foot job.
It's not pretty.
Wow.
It's one of the worst things we've ever seen. So we'll have that up on the website.
It'll be our background at
And
Talking
to say
Schlock.
it's pornographic is tame. It's tame. It's very nice.
They're so old, it's kind of like one of those cute National Geographic type moments. You can't really call it porn.
Yeah.
It's more of just a discovery of how disgusting you can really see
It's
pictures.
anti-porn, really.
If it's
Yeah.
not porn, then why do I have such a hard on?
Because Paul keeps rubbing your dick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that
keeps-
was mine.
He keeps nuzzling it.
So after all this
You
happens...
know what's funny, though? You'd never know she was my daughter. Unless you saw us together, because we look alike.
That's all they have in common is the face.
Does she wear the douchey ponytail like you do?
Yes, it's true. Paul's recording this podcast with the ponytail. That's that weird buzzing noise you hear in the background.
If I sound douchier than usual. Which I don't know if that's possible.
That's hard
I
work.
know.
right there.
Well, we just need to get you some mirror surface glasses.
When he drove up, we heard
And a
this weird
frisbee.
electronica music. It was like, oomph, 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 oomph.
Yeah.
And he drove him in a fucking Mazda Miata. He got out and it was like, it was obviously an aftermarket weird.
This gets
Paul
35 miles
is
to the
Euro
gallon.
trash now. That's what we're saying. Paul is Euro trash.
And I swear to God, for the first 5
I'm
minutes,
never
he's-
manscaping again.
I swear to God, he spoke in like this weird, like Czechoslovakian accent.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, only posers do that.
I ain't no
does.
poser. I'm a douchebag.
He kept on calling me
I'm the
Dunya.
real deal.
We've gone off on such a tangent that Craig has left the room.
Which is surprising, because we're talking about me being a douchebag. You think he's
Anyways, cut back to the movie. There's 6 pairs of tits walking to the front desk.
We're also glossing over how Craig is using Gabe's credit card for the maximum amount of porn. It's currently being downloaded.
Man, that bar just keeps going.
It does.
Wow, I wonder what your wife will think when she sees your credit card bill and it says, Mr. Ed, take me to bed.
She won't ask any questions.
So Taryn and the vitamin guy go make out on the beach.
Because that was necessary, entirely.
Yeah.
This guy shows up, makes a vitamin pitch, and then fucks some girl on the beach.
But I tell you what, nothing that has ever happened to me is when I've handed a girl a drink, she's like, first let me take my top off.
Yeah.
That's never happened.
It's because we're not vitamin guys. That's what's going on. My wife pointed out here that she couldn't believe how high the girl's G-string goes up on her hips.
Boy, that is some flossing going on there.
And it was really unclear from this scene because it's like all backlit by the sun going down. It's really hard to tell who has the more majestic hair, Vitamin Guy or Taryn.
I think it's
a
Vitamin
tie.
It's a tie.
Taryn's is like voluptuous, but Vitamin's guy's curls are just too sublime.
His
But
is
what
like
about mine?
solid.
What about my hair?
Got brag.
Whoosh!
And so the movie doesn't want us to forget about the snake because this is kind of like the plot thread slithering its way through this mess of crap.
Right, I see what you
Yes.
did there.
Literally, in this case.
The snake, much like the plot, is almost nowhere to be found.
It's a
And
MacGuffin.
so while they're on the beach, it's like the next day, and Taryn gets a page. I'm pretty sure I knew where she was keeping this beeper. By the way,
Was it
They also
moist?
do this very
I
Kubrick
think it was
zoom
in
in
the
on the
snake's mouth.
moon,
yeah.
where it's just all bleached out anyways. So
Well,
it's
if
like
we're
this little
following the
dot.
same
like
suit
their
as
hair.
hidden messages in a sandwich, she most likely was keeping the beeper in Vitamin Guy's ass because that's just the most convenient place.
Well, he's kind of like a Pez dispenser.
Yeah. And so after all this happens, the greatest scene in film history is about to come up. The two kung fu guys are driving on a road out in the country somewhere, and they see a guy riding a skateboard on his hands.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want to take this line because it is one of the greatest lines of all time. But there's another podcast, Junk Food Dinner, which rules. But they use this line all the time. One of the guys says, he must be smoking some heavy doobies.
Oh, yeah.
Heavy doobies.
Oh my God. We have to pause a second to watch this upside down handboarding scene.
Right. And then he gets in the back of a modified Subaru Brat.
Yeah, it's like a Subaru Brat meets Subaru Baja.
And they go blowing by the guys in the Jeep. And then the guy in the skateboard hops out. He's got a shotgun and a blow-up doll.
Because he's trying to appear inconspicuous.
Yeah.
No one
No.
ever
There's
suspects
no better
this.
way to hide a shotgun.
Because it makes so much sense. He
Yeah,
could
I
have
mean-
just had like a big trench coat on or something.
You know those
It's
blow-up
Hawaii.
dolls?
You can't go running around in a big trench coat. You have to have an Asian blow-up doll in your arm.
Well, you know, they have those convenient holes for hiding weapons.
I know I've always hid my weapons there.
And so these used to be the Kung Fu guys, but now these are the Kung Fu run over the
these aren't the
skater.
Kung Fu guys.
Yeah, it is.
No, this is, because it wasn't the guy with the pantyhose over his head, was it? These
No,
were the
no,
guys
the
in the
Kung
beginning.
Fu
guys
These are the racist guys
good guys.
in the-
These are hidden message
Pieces of-
sandwich eaters or
Racist
whatever.
yacht man.
Yeah, racist shot man.
So let's say,
Goon
like,
Squad.
The ruse doesn't work because homeboy with the shotgun and the blow-up doll, they clearly say way before he even tries to shoot them, "Oh look, he has a gun."
Yeah.
And then he slightly drops the blow-up doll to shoot them 2 times with a pump shotgun before the fucking trunk.
This is
That-
Craig's rape alarm is going off.
Yeah, the
Help
noise you
me!
hear.
Trust no one.
My phone is not involved in this beeping for once.
This noise is Craig's alarm, brought to you by FatMenWhoDon'tWannaBeRaped.com or Xfinity. Xfinity.
Providers of anti-fat people raped since 1997.
It's also known as Comcast, or the world's greatest internet subscription service. It's great.
Jesus.
Thank you.
Are you slamming the door open and closed?
He's doing it on purpose. He's like, yeah.
They made the wrong pizza,
So
so they gave us the extra one.
Oh, well, there we go, people.
Nice.
Life is good.
Wow. Our luck is turning around, fellas.
So
I'm going to go buy a lottery ticket.
Yeehaw!
should we mention the name of this pizza company, or should we not and do them a favor?
Let's
Yeah, Earth Chill Bros. They gave us both pizzas.
D-Dish 936. Man, that's
No,
another
what I'm
Andy
saying
Sedaris
is,
movie.
By mentioning them on our podcast, are we doing them a favor, or are we doing them a disservice?
We're doing them a disservice. Plus, the delivery guy was Asian, so he probably doesn't want us to mention him.
Hey, check that pizza for messages.
Want me to set it on fire?
Gabe, it's not on top. It's between the cheese and the crust. Come on, seriously.
I bet you the driver was like, last time I was here, the person who answered asked me where his fortune cookies was. Bastard.
You make pizza, anybody?
I'll have one. Do you guys want to just pause it, take a break real quick?
yeah, probably faster.
So anyway, this scene, the skateboard guy has a blow-up doll that he's using to cover up his shotgun. He shoots at the guys in the Jeep, and then they turn around and shoot him with a rocket launcher, right?
It's crazy. They come to a stop, and the guy has a little blood where his nipple is, and it almost looks as if the skateboarder had just stopped in the car and bit a little too hard on his teeth.
Yeah, it's like his...
Despite the fact that he got hit with buckshot.
Right. The guy
I know, it looks
shot
like
the
he got-
tire.
Looks like he threw a cherry at him really hard, hit him in the chest.
Yeah.
He's like, you just ruined my wife beater.
And
He had just run a marathon, and he just had the nipple
Cheap
over his
nipple.
shoulder.
Put Band-Aids on
He
the
was
nipples.
menstruating through his man nipple.
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
So they back the Jeep back up into the skateboard guy, which he's spinning around, by the way.
like a dumbass.
Sitting there doing like a
Whoa,
780
whoa.
like on there for no reason.
I
think
think
he's
at this
out of
point,
control.
It's like a 247,380,000 because he's just fucking spinning.
Well, it's the weight differential between the blow-up doll and the Uzi.
Shotgun.
Well, it's
Yeah,
funny.
once you fire one, the other one sets such a great disadvantage that you just start
The
spinning
centrifugal force,
uncontrollably.
Perpetual
Yeah.
motion.
Yeah, it's
So they were
astronomical.
doing this
It's like
man
a
a
Rube
service
Goldberg machine.
by backing up into him and blowing him up with a rocket launcher.
Now, you got to describe the rocket launcher because it's unfair to leave this unfinished. This is not your standard run-of-the-mill military issue rocket launcher. Oh no, it is a 4-barreled rocket launcher.
Yeah.
That the back of which is like right next to your face.
And it is quite clearly made out of extra materials from Home Depot.
And it has a magazine clip.
Yeah.
Why?
So
We
they
don't
launch
know.
the skateboard guy into the air by hitting him with the Jeep, and then they shoot him with the rocket launcher and blow him up in midair.
Apparently, the guy was made out of fucking propane because it's just turned into a fucking flaming fireball in the air.
And then,
Then he moves over and shoots the blow-up doll, which is like descending to the ground.
Wait, does he blow up the blow-up doll?
Same thing. Blow up doll was probably inflated with fucking butane.
and in this one move, he offends the whole Oriental culture.
And,
Wait, you've done that.
Oriental culture.
and you know what doesn't happen?
You've done that episodes ago.
And you know what doesn't happen? Reality. Because if he would have shot this thing inside the truck like he did,
He would have
he
blown out
would've-
the windshield, at least blown out the windshield.
yeah, and killed Homeboy who was sitting right behind him while he's firing.
That guy's already got
Or
a
what
bloody
about
nipple.
backing up into someone and it somehow launches them 30 fucking feet in the air?
Not quite sure how that one works either. My thought is when you hit someone with a truck, they would fall backwards, not upwards. I don't know how the gravity on that one kind of plays out.
And this
The
guy makes a
weapons,
remark.
they're like dildo spears.
Yeah. The rockets apparently are dildos. Yeah, I guess those are extra rockets if you take a look at the
Well, that's
scene where
what you
he's
shoot
returning
blowballs
to
with.
the case.
And not only that, but he makes this remark like, "Oh, I'm a better shot with my rocket launcher." What the fuck do you shoot with your rocket launcher that you know? Like, you know what? I've shot millions of rounds with my pistol because that ammunition is cheap. But you know what's not cheap? Rockets. And you know what I'm better at shooting? My rocket launcher.
He goes pheasant hunting sometimes, and
It
it
sounds
just
like we're
happens.
being really critical of this scene, but this scene fucking rules.
It
No,
does.
sorry,
It's awesome.
It's fucking amazing. It's just like action movies need to go over the top more.
Every scene I've ever seen of a guy skateboarding with a blow-up doll and a shotgun, this is the seminal one right
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
There's
it
nothing
really
else
is,
compares.
That's what they'll have to aspire to.
And if you're going to watch this movie, this is the fucking scene.
Yes.
You miss this scene, you might as well kill yourself.
I don't
Because
know.
there's no
This is
reason
the
to
stage
watch
There's
it.
another scene coming up.
There's some other scenes.
fairly
Oh, and
memorable.
then his skateboard goes down the road with no one on it.
Oh, it would have been better if there were like his shoes were still there with smoke smoldering out of them while it was going down.
But he was in the air. How could that happen?
So the next scene, it goes back to the honeymooners that were dropped off earlier, and this girl has got like the biggest tits in the movie. So of course they never show them.
Yeah, that's why I didn't
dude.
like this movie.
Really a letdown.
Yeah, down.
But anyway, so they get attacked by the snake during this scene, right?
A real snake?
Oh, it's a vicious attack scene, too.
Yeah.
You see the snake's head, and then it cuts away.
We don't actually see we actually don't see the Jim Henson puppeteering masterpiece attacking them.
Hey, you know that if you had been covered in that much cum, once you were released, you would murder anyone.
I might
Like,
just
humanity's ruined. I'm covered in this much jism. I'm done with life. I'm murdering everything I see.
Jism. So the two kung fu guys, they make a quick trip to the ER so that the one guy can get his nipple patched up.
And his parachute pants pulled back up to his belly button.
Right. And then back at Edie's restaurant, Edie gets a phone call and then has to go change in her bedroom, which is apparently located at the restaurant. And she puts on these super tight jeans and has like the most massive camel toe I've ever seen in my life.
I know, it's bigger than the one Craig is sporting right now.
You could actually fit not only a camel's toe in there, but a head and a hump, too. That is a deep camel toe.
And so
And
she,
we're missing a random scene where some bimbo jumps in the pool and swims across it and then crawls right out.
oh right, yeah. There's like a kind of an elaborate, an
Filler
extra
scene.
set of tits coming up in this too. But we do get to see Edie's boobs, and she is wearing like apparently a pair of drapes that take several minutes for her to get off.
Nice boobs, though. I gotta give credit there.
Yeah. These are
Yay, no
these
bra.
are nice tits. These are very acceptable.
Bras
boobs.
didn't exist in the 70s.
And then there is a scene of one of the gals. So this is the girl earlier in the movie who caused the director to order a pair of coffee.
Yes.
That's who that is.
And she dives in like a fucking... Like, oh my god, it's the worst dive I've ever seen in my life.
Belly flop.
It's like they're like, you know what, you have no swim training whatsoever, dive in, and she's just like, plop.
Yeah.
She's
know
got all
what?
that extra chest weight.
Keep in mind that she jumps into the pool, dives in, swims to the other side, and then gets out.
Yeah.
What the fuck was the point of that? It's half a lap.
I've done that. It's because when you get out of the pool, like the water makes your shorts stick really big, so if you got a big dick, it's like, oh wow, that guy's got a big dick, and you can just kind of be like, stretch for half a second before you're like, oh yeah, I gotta fix my shorts to make it look like I don't have such a big dick.
But it's cold water, so I mean, your big dick
I
just
do
looks
that,
smaller.
but it accentuates my camel toe.
I mean, when I stuff the socks down there, then I'll do some shit like that, but not otherwise. No.
But when it's wet, it obviously looks like socks, because you're like, socks down here, ball and cock up here.
And the red stripes are a dead
Unless you're
giveaway.
me, then it's balls down here.
Yeah. Because Paul's old.
Paul's pointing to his legs, people in audio world.
And so there's the spy at the bar we find out is actually a tranny, in case we didn't realize it up to this point.
Oh, man.
No.
Really?
Now I feel
she's
bad
trying
about
to be,
jerking off to her.
She's trying to be covert, and yet the place that she changes is a common changing room for everyone.
Right.
Well,
And
yeah.
so
I mean,
she
Not a stall, perhaps.
She waits for one person to leave, and then she sits down and she's like, as fast as I can, I gotta get undressed. But she's obviously an ugly fucking man when she gets undressed. And so, like, obviously would these girls be like, who's this weird guy leaving the dressing room every day at this certain time after this fucking woman
Oh,
leaves?
that's Bruce.
we,
Don't worry about him.
and we missed the gratuitous part where the
He's
girl
not
who
right.
just came out of the swimming pool goes in, takes her top off, and bounces while conversing with the she-male.
Well, isn't she like, aren't breasts awesome? Because I got big titties, and big titties are good titties, and titties.
And you think that Alan is making a joke here, but that's pretty much what she fucking
She's like,
That is
says.
pretty
she's
much what
talking
she
about
does.
like you got to get in better shape and do yoga or some shit like
To
that.
keep these girls going good or something like that. And then, so after she leaves, the tranny starts taking off his makeup and quickly realized that Brian Eno has taken time off from making synth soundscapes to dress up as a woman for Seth Romero's drug diamond gang and kidnap camel toe chicks.
This guy gets really into character. I mean, he wears a fucking, like, panties, you know? He's, like, undressing and everything.
Thong.
He's got a thong with pantyhose on him.
He's got a fucking thong. I can understand the pantyhose, but he could straight up just wear fucking boxers.
No, not in that dress. You don't want to show a panty line. Are you kidding me? Let me tell you, man. You walk around and dress like that with a panty line, everybody's going to be like, look at her ass. You can see the panty line.
On Saturdays, Alan is known as Alexis.
You can email us at alexisisnotracist
at gmail.com. So Brian Eno and the two nylon ninjas from earlier, they go after and kidnap Edie, who's driving around in her convertible Chrysler.
She tried
yeah.
She tries to get away, but one guy crooks his fingers and fish hooks her camel toe, and she just can't manage to get away from him.
Wow.
Well, seriously.
It's like that scene with the meat hook in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
But you gotta admit, there's nothing sexier than a Chrysler LeBaron convertible.
Okay, so after they kidnap Edie... After they kidnap Edie, we see the guy that killed the cops from earlier, and he's hanging out on the beach, and he's tossing a frisbee with some girl, but he's got an Uzi.
Because, you know, the chicks dig guys playing frisbee with Uzis. Because that seems good.
But, I mean, we're forgetting because, what is it, Taryn and what's-her-face? Big tits. Donna. Freaking, like, going out there to, like, spy on him and everything. And one of them has a pair of binoculars, and the other one has like a Fisher-Price camcorder or something like that, or pretend camcorder.
I think it's
Sony sports camcorder.
Yeah, I think it's the very first Sony Handycam.
Yeah,
it's like it's like a early '80s. It's like 4 feet by 5 feet tape.
School bus yellow.
Yeah, it's
guys,
school bus yellow.
Yeah,
he's got it paused right here. I'm looking at it. It is a orange juice jug.
And so this guy, the Uzi guy, and the girl that he's been throwing the frisbee with, they take their throwing extremely seriously.
It's the camcorder from Vulgar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So, meanwhile, back at the bad guy's lair, Edie says, "Let go of me!" And meanwhile, her moose knuckle has apparently been stolen by the gang. And the guys, the Kung Fu guys are waiting for Edie and the girls, and they go to a sumo training center for some reason.
Because that's what we need. We need more ADD scenes for this freaking Andy Sedaris film.
Yeah, this movie is bananas. And so...
You mean titties?
Yes, banana titties.
But titties.
But
hey guys,
Nanas.
I'm in the room. Don't make fun of me, all right?
Well, you know, to be fair, there were so many woman titties, they had to show some big man titties as well. And thus the sumo scene appears.
Andy Sedaris just loves tits.
And so
He's
You
not
got
picky
fat
about
gloves
who.
hanging from your chest. Andy Sedaris wants to film them.
having had little to no contact with the actual person, Donna deduces that the guy at the bar is a transvestite. And that that person's name is Michelle, and she's been tipping off Seth about what's going on at
That
Edie's.
bitch.
What else has she been doing with her tip?
Anyway,
Just the tip.
and so after they're done like viewing the frisbee people, Donna and Taryn, they find the honeymooners on the beach, and they're dead.
Oops.
How?
That's not gonna do well for their tourist service.
I don't think so.
I think that the cancer that the snake got from the cum that it got in the plane turned into poison and then venenously murdered boobies.
Boobies.
And so they find the man, and he's dead, and then they find the woman, and she's like all torn up and like gory, right?
That
But
snake
she's
has.
still wearing her top.
I know. What the fuck?
Crap. At least the snake could do is remove her top after murdering her.
And then they find the guy's Polaroid camera, and he's got a photo of the snake.
It is-
Well,
before
no,
it's
it's
attacking
not just like it fell out, it was on the ground. They pull the freaking Polaroid off the ground, and then the picture freaking comes
Starts to
out.
develop.
And it starts to develop.
And so back at Edie's, there's an interview because of the football meetings that they're talking about earlier, and the vitamin guy is like a sports broadcaster of some kind.
Apparently.
And he's interviewing the Dallas Steers and their quarterback, Jimmy John.
And doing a great job at it.
Made me want a sandwich right then and there.
And they ask him
Freaky fast delivery, yo.
That's how he gets that ball downfield.
And I just want to make clear that he asks the football guys like how they did the big play that won the championship. God, that sounded like I have never watched a football game in my life. He asked the football guys how they did the big play that won the championship.
What is this game of ball that involves feet?
Yeah, I heard the Cardinals beat the Trailblazers in last week's match.
I think it has something to do with that photo that my daughter sent earlier.
So did you get a home run? How many home runs did you get during this game?
I hear the Steers goalie denied them the whole time.
So he asked them what they said when they ran the play that won the championship. And I want to just make sure that everybody understands that I'm quoting the movie. And I'm quoting the black guy who made the statement in the movie. But he says, the plan was niggas go deep and white guys keep them out on 2. Which sounds like a great football play. And so, meanwhile...
It's also the name of my ska band.
Meanwhile, the guys the kung fu guys finally get back to Edie's, and Ashley, who I don't know who, I've got my note here, but I don't remember who the hell Ashley is. She lets them know that Donna is looking for them, and then the snake climbs into a septic tank, because that's going to come back later.
Yes, it's important to know about snakes.
Is it going to come back later and bite us in the ass?
It is.
Oh, wah,
And
wah.
by septic tank, do you mean trash can buried in the ground?
That is what I mean. Yes.
I mean, it was the entrance to the Ninja Turtles' secret lair.
It had to be
Well,
like
they
a
had
scene.
access to that.
It was like a Warner Brothers scene where they had septic tank and arrows pointing down, so we knew what the fuck it was.
It was like Bugs Bunny freaking cartoon.
Yeah. And then somebody mentions that the snake's own toxins are going to kill it within 36 hours. And so, while all this is taking place, we switch back to the bad guy's lair, and Romero is torturing Edie, but it's like he's just got her hands tied to a rope, and he pulls it on a lead.
Occasionally pulls it really hard, though, and her arms go up at least half a foot from her chest level.
Yeah, it was a very interesting thing.
Man.
Guys, take this seriously. This is like waterboarding.
Can you imagine if
Marionetting.
Dick
Yes.
Cheney was doing this to you in some underground bunker somewhere?
Oh, I imagine this every night.
Whenever
wrists-
you're inside your wife, that's what you need, right?
By the end of this, her wrists were kind of chapped.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
Poor girl.
She would have felt a little discomfort towards the end.
Why did you do this movie?
The reason they were doing this was so that the blood would all flow down and she'd get her camel toe back.
Yeah.
It's not bulging anymore.
She could swallow one of them whole with it, though. That
Bulging,
seems
you mean it's
dangerous.
not throbbing anymore.
And so back at Donna's house, the Kung Fu guys and Taryn and Donna all decide that they're going to go rescue Edie at the bad guys.
But not before they have a makeout session, because that's important.
Right. And so, yeah, Donna and Rowdy, who's the kind of slightly less effeminate-looking Kung Fu guy, slightly more effeminate-looking, I guess it
Doesn't matter.
depends.
It's
They head
long-haired douche.
they head outside, but then they go into a bedroom, and then they're having some sex, and it's clear that this guy's having sex with somebody who's his grandmother's age.
Why aren't you wet down there? Ever since the change, it's just never happening.
And the other guy...
The changing of the diaper?
Something like that, Paul.
The changing of the gender?
The guy who got shot in the nipple, it kind of seems like he's...
in Taft's day.
Taft.
I'll have you know, Teddy Roosevelt himself would fuck this. If he had a chance.
And he had no complaints about my dryness.
Winston Churchill.
He
took
grew up in
sloppy
the mountains, and
seconds.
all he had to fuck was bears.
And so, and then Jay tries to bang Taryn. It's kind of a little unclear, because her boyfriend is the vitamin guy. And then his girlfriend turns out is Edie, right?
Yes, camel toe.
Mm-hmm.
He has a camel toe, too?
No, that's his girlfriend.
Oh, okay. Camel toe is his girlfriend, Edie.
I don't
Yeah,
really need
that's
the name
right.
Edie. I just go with camel toe.
Yeah. And then there's an extended scene of the female wrestler thug
The
nylon ninja lady.
The she-goro.
She totally gives Craig a boner. I know that.
Oh my God, does she ever? She just she sits
all
there.
It's not
up.
her, it's the nunchucks.
Seriously,
Nunchuka.
It's the 4 hands. Can you imagine the hand job you get from 4 hands?
It's funny.
I can barely be fit in one, but let alone 4.
4
Damn.
hands. And still, once again, it's complete.
Well, I've got a foreskin.
And still, once again, this scene also demonstrates that someone did not read the instruction manual when taking their nunchaku out of the box.
Yes.
Apparently,
So-
you just stretch them and then stretch with them and pose with them like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'd say with tits, but not really.
She has like a diamond on her forehead. Like, I don't understand.
Well, that's where the second box of diamonds went.
And while Chick is getting tortured, Homeboy's clearly getting a tit job.
Yeah, Rowdy is getting a tit job from Donna while all this is happening.
Wasn't he fucking her belly button? Wasn't that what was going on?
I don't know.
It's really hard to quite say.
And so Donna shows Rowdy the video of the Shades guide with the Uzi and the Frisbee.
Shiny
and he
Shades
knows that that's
douchebag.
the guy who killed the cops back in Molokai from the
Yeah.
beginning of the movie.
Yeah, that's important. I'm glad
And then,
that tied together.
They get back to rubbing their leathery faces together again. And so Rowdy makes a lot of noise when he gets fingered. And we find out that Mr. Chang,
Just like Craig.
Mr. Chang is the real leader of the organization. It's not Seth, it's Mr. Chang.
Chang!
Yeah,
He's the old guy who was flying the helicopter.
Yes. His name is Mr. Chang, but he
And-
looks like the dad from Third Rock on the Sun.
And while it's going on, too, we're cutting to scenes where Shigoro is hitting or was it Emma or whatever? Edie. With the, incorrectly with nunchaku.
Jesus Christ, I got a lot of notes.
Did
for
she
this
actually
movie.
hit her? I thought they just kind of cut away, and you're just like, that was the end of it.
And I
They
didn't
kinda hit her
realize
a little
this,
bit.
but apparently in 1988, dentist office music was highly erotically charged because it's playing during the entire sex scene here.
Oh, man, I can never feel the same when I'm waiting to get my teeth cleaned.
Hey, man, I'm always aroused when I get drilled in the mouth.
Wait for the filling.
And during the sex scene, Donna asks Rowdy, she goes, "So tell me, what do you feel?" And he says, "One man's dream is another man's lunch." And she calls him a son of a bitch.
I don't understand that. That was very confusing.
That's the confusing thing about this movie, Joel, right?
One man's dream, alright, so one man's fantasy is another man's lunch. So if you were to come in a man's mouth and he ate it, then
That's his lunch?
that's his lunch? Yeah.
Do you set it on fire afterwards and look for a message?
I don't know.
No, Paul. Where'd you go with that one?
You know, the sandwich. from
I
the
get
beginning.
that, but why'd you go there?
'Cause-
Why? Stop doing Gabe impressions.
I didn't get it till you said it.
And then, meanwhile, somewhere, Romero calls Mr. Chan wearing really starched white pleated trousers. And Chan tells Romero to kill everyone in Hawaii, apparently. And John and Rowdy get vagina juice fingers all over the Uzis. And there's kind of an extended A-Team-like scene where they're getting all their weapons together to go raid the bad guys.
It would only be better, and it was like a throwback to Deadliest Prey, where they were also ejecting live rounds from the chamber.
Right.
No, it's better because there's a razor blade
Frisbee.
frisbee.
Yes.
Yeah, but we're missing the scene where Mr. Evil Everything, like gets on the phone with like a safari jacket on, like he just got done hunting endangered zebra
that's
on
when
Madagascar.
That's when he told Romero to kill everybody. And so Rowdy gets onto the beach in the morning, and he goes and confronts the girl that throws the frisbee with Shades, and he sees Shades, and he has a plan. He also has an incredibly embarrassing banana hammock on. And they go out and they're throwing the frisbee around, and the girl says about him, "He's just a thrower." And they talk, there's like an extended scene where they talk about the ins and outs of frisbee throwing.
Yes, because it's very complicated, and there's many schools of it.
And so he has...
Well, you're either a traditionalist, a rationalist, an anti-traditionalist, or a progressive frisbee thrower.
A new ageist.
Yeah, I mean, they all come with their own fields of thought. A new idealist is going to have more of a progressive throw than, say, your traditionalist. And your anti-traditionalist is going to be towards, like, a specific mindset
scent.
He's like,
I'm
Blind
nah,
sense.
bruh.
And the liberals,
I'm
they're
drunk
list.
and channeling my graphics art design class.
It's this friggin' silver glasses. Are like, nah, bro, get out of here, man.
What kind of bodyguard sits around and then just puts his Uzi away to play frisbee, to outman the other guy who was playing frisbee with his gal?
Right.
So
It's like trying to measure your cock in the most insignificant way you possibly can
mine's
against another
smaller.
guy.
And then to get the girl to leave, he throws the frisbee away like she's a fucking dog. Like, get out of here, bitch. Go, fetch, whore.
But then when she goes after it, he goes, "Hey, Colleen," and she turns around and he goes, "You got a great ass." And she goes, "You do too, partner," or whatever it is she says.
Pilgrim.
Pilgrim, yeah. And so he gets out a black frisbee out of his satchel, his frisbee satchel, apparently. And he's throwing it back and forth with the guy a few times, and then he pulls out his razor blade frisbee.
Yes.
Ah, the old frisbee switcheroo.
Now keep
Hey,
in mind,
that's not the same frisbee.
these razors protrude 1/8 of an inch.
But they
From
still
the end of
managed
the
to
frisbee.
chop off his fingers
And cut his.
and slice him in the throat and kill him dead.
Yes. It was pretty impressive fucking frisbee when he
So,
threw it.
is the rocket launcher blow-up doll scene better, or is this scene better?
I gotta go with the rocket launcher blow-up doll.
And there is one more scene at the end of the movie that also vies for the best scene in the movie, and then
Still
we'll take
Still rocket launcher.
No
All right.
spoilers.
No problem.
We're not
Says
spoiling.
the spoiler.
We were talking about the previous scene with the blow-up doll and the rocket launcher being the best scene in the movie.
After he cuts off the guy's fingers and cuts open his jugular vein, he does a Tiger Woods fist pump, which is pretty sweet. And so meanwhile, once again, Donna has been allowed to pilot yet another aircraft, and she's in an ultralight. This was actually, I thought, the coolest shot in the movie, when she flies the ultralight over the Jeep.
By pilot, don't you mean controlled crash?
You're forgetting the best part where her fucking controls are all over the goddamn map. And It's
Yeah.
like, whoa.
This is a pretty cool scene. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. She just flew the ultralight over the Jeep, where Jay, the kung fu guy, is holding a rocket launcher. That's
Yeah.
pretty freaking sweet.
If I was a director at that point, I would have came at that shot. I'd have been like, oh my god, we tried it 400 times. The 401st time it finally came out. We're good. Everyone go home.
No one died this time.
And so Donna is flying over the bad guy's lair, and she tells them she's going to drop noise grenades and scare them out of the building.
Yeah.
Noise grenades look just like regular grenades.
Yeah.
That'll take him
And
by surprise.
And she's dropping them right next to her own people.
It's like 5 feet from the Jeep. Why you need to be in the air to drop these 5
Wait,
feet away from
there's
where
a
you otherwise
patrol
would
of them
be?
in a Jeep that looks exactly like us. I'm gonna mess with the imposters.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's Milwaukee Cargo. It must be on the other side of the building.
We could just shoot our guns in the air. There's no need to waste the ammo. I've got an idea. I will drop sound grenades.
Noise grenades.
Not only that, but unfortunately, on this SUV during the firefight, somebody's continually putting those bullet hole stickers on the Jeep. Because by the end, there's like 6 or 7 of them on the Jeep.
Yeah.
You know, like the really tacky bullet hole stickers. They're just all over the place.
Yeah, it's
One of
cute.
them's even
It's
got
like,
like half a baseball sticking out of it.
it's like Andy Sedaris was like, don't scratch the Jeep. I got to get it back to my parents when this scene is over.
Apparently, it takes several minutes for them to kill the only bad guy who comes out to shoot at them.
Who is a transvestite?
No, that's later, Paul.
That's later. Yeah, he's coming. So Jay, who's like the big buff kung fu guy, he goes into the house with a bazooka, which seems like a bad idea.
No. If I've told my children one thing, it's that if someone breaks into our house, you get Daddy's bazooka. Because this is the perfect inside defense weapon. A bazooka.
Not just a bazooka, but 4 in 1.
I hope you've been teaching them some bazooka safety.
A quadzooka.
Quadzooka.
Daddy's quadzooka made from PVC. It won't hurt you or anything.
Isn't Quadzooka Godzilla's son from this old cartoon in the early 80s?
the old what? You mean the old sitcom?
It's the porn name I used to perform under.
Quadzooka.
Guy's like 1/4 inch of power. Quadzooka. If you take an inch and divide it by 4, you have Quadzilla. Able
to reach partly through your clitoris.
And so
Godzilla!
And so Taryn...
Not making women wet, Godzilla! Interrupting Craig, Godzilla!
I see you've seen my films.
Taryn manages...
Labia's too thick for my dick, Godzilla!
I can't think of any Quadzilla jokes right now. Quadzilla.
Maybe that's a good thing.
Oh wait, it should be. I can't think of any Quadzilla jokes right now. Ebola. And so Taryn winds up killing Brian Eno with an Uzi, and he's clearly wearing Pizios when she does this. And then Jay has a kung fu fight with some guy inside the house. And he manages to get this scrunchie on his ponytail broken.
Oh, it's on.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen to me.
And so Rowdy winds up fighting one of the nylon thugs and then rocket launches him out of the window. And they save Edie, and Jay says, "What is this? Kinky sex? I'll go get the midgets and the whips," because she's tied up.
And then he proceeds to get the midgets and the whips, and things just turn weird.
Well, I'm not cool with that.
So, Romero and the other bad guys try and get away in the chopper, but Donna blows them all up out of the sky. And thankfully, Edie's camel toe is firmly ensconced back between her legs.
Oh, the goods weren't damaged.
And so they're driving away in a van, and they forget that they didn't kill Seth. And they just, stop, a mile away, and then Rowdy gets on a motorcycle and rides back to the bad guy's lair.
Yeah, not just gets on a motorcycle. A motorcycle they had in the back of the fucking A-Team van. They just fucking open the back doors and boom! It was part of their plan.
Yeah, the van, that was the bad guy's van, right? I mean, because they came in a Jeep and a hang glider. Though you just apparently leave your Jeep and hang glider there, those are fucking easy to replace.
Obviously the Jeep couldn't drive. It had those bullet hole stickers all over it.
And it's crazy, too, because, the chubby Hawaiian guy and, I don't know, the chick or whatever, we're getting away in a helicopter, and the rocket launcher guy just sat there like a dumbass.
Yeah.
What do I do?
And so, but like I said, they just, forget that they didn't kill the guy that they were all there to kill. And so they just stop. And Rowdy goes back. And so, back at the house, we get an extended scene of Donna chiseling several millimeters of makeup from her 50-year-old face. And Romero sneaks into the house because apparently he's escaped. And she gets chased into a closet. And it's like the scene from Halloween where he's jabbing a knife through closet slats or whatever the hell they're called.
Yeah, these things are maybe a 1/10 of an inch each, so you could really just sort of punch through them.
But it takes him just long enough to do this for her to load up the spear gun she keeps in her closet.
Convenient.
Because you never know.
And so I realize after she shot him in his left cheek and then shoots him in the left shoulder, she's extremely angry with the left side of this guy's body for some reason. But even though Romero appears like he's done for, he's not quite dead. And then they struggle with a knife, and she stabs him in the guts, and then he immediately rolls over on it. Did you guys see this?
Yeah.
And so she's kind of catching her breath, convalescing right next to the toilet. She wipes off her boobs. Wipes the glistening sweat off of her boobs. But the snake, who now has some sort of light source, emerges from the toilet.
It's like Jesus rising from the dead. If the dead was a toilet with a snake coming
It's
out
like
of
it
it.
consumed a crate full of light sticks.
It's really hilarious.
I don't think
and the
Andy's...
toilet bowl breaks when he comes out.
Yeah, it's crazy because, I guess Andy Sedaris doesn't know how a fucking toilet works, doesn't know about the whole gooseneck and shit like that. No, it's just a straight freaking hole. It's big enough to fit a full-size python through it.
So, because what happens is when the skin of the snake breaks the outer shell of a porcelain, the combining chemical creates is very bright and it's
luminescent,
photogenic. So there's a lot of photons that are released.
Are there lens flares?
And what happens is it actually creates a tiny, albeit small, nuclear explosion. which is why there's so much lightning and flashing when the snake came out. It's a scientific fact. It was on like episode 27 of Mythbusters. You should check it out.
Is that the one where Jamie's beard caught on fire?
Donna comes running out with a toilet-soaked top.
Yes. And so we realize, too, that Romero is still alive. Seth is still alive, but the snake bites him on the face.
And I'd like to say, however, though, that this shows you that no matter what, if you have big tits, a man will hug you, even though you're covered in toilet water. Because had this bitch been ugly and flat, he'd been like, get off me! No thank you. But he was like, alright, baby, come on, hugs.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm covered in toilet water right now. Nobody's hugging me.
It's true.
Come on.
No.
I'm scared.
Your tits aren't big enough.
And so the snake kills Romero. Romero's finally dead. And she shoots the snake like in the face with her pistol a couple of times. But it doesn't do any good. But Rowdy flies in through the front door with his motorcycle. Flies in through the door, as my notes say, on a rad-ass dirt bike and blows the snake away with his bazooka.
Yeah, he doesn't really run in, but he rides in after the X-Men storm channels a burst of clouds behind him, and lightning strikes the side of the building open.
Yeah,
He doesn't come through the window, he comes through the side of the building, like he's like, wall? No wall!
Yes.
Wall!
And then, thankfully, Alan points out earlier, he had his indoor rockets loaded.
Yeah.
Because he shoots the snake, and the snake suddenly turns into glitter.
Yeah.
Into glitter.
And only the
And
snake's
floats
head
away.
Wait a
explodes.
second. Is this just a really long Kesha music video?
It does. It looks like... Yeah, it's like these are Oregon legal fireworks that he's shooting out of here. That's how lame this bazooka is.
Let me remind you, Oregon legal fireworks can just sparkle on the ground for half a second
Yeah.
before they fizzle the fuck out.
Fucking Kesha. If this was Katy Perry, it'd be coming out of their boobs.
Yes. And I want to say, just up to this point, after seeing all these crazy scenes, I don't think that this organization seems like a legitimate government entity to me.
Seriously?
Actually, it does.
It really, really does.
I could tell you, I used to be in the Navy, and,
That's pretty close to how it was, right?
yeah.
Those tight-fitting uniforms,
Quadzookas.
Snake blowing up quadzookas.
blow-up dolls.
So
Wet halter tops.
everybody gets into a limousine, and they're going to go after Chang, who's at the penthouse at the Hilton or whatever. And Jay is wearing the fucking craziest outfit of all time in this scene right here. And so they go to beat up Chang, and he tells them he'll let them take him in a pig's ass.
Pig's ass.
And then he holds a katana
Well,
like
first he's got his thug. He's got
Okay.
Muscles McMuscleface,
Muscles McButterbrains.
who comes up and then get his ass kicked.
yeah, they take
Discount
his ass.
Arnold.
And then
Discount
while he's getting his ass kicked, the main villain takes down his katana because he's a badass.
Discount Arnold with discount Anthony Hopkins.
Because
Yes.
if using freaking nunchucks incorrectly isn't bad enough.
And then the woman pulls out a Joker gun.
Yeah, fucking huge motherfucking gun.
But he throws the katana like he's playing darts in an Irish pub.
And the best part is
Well, they've
They
been throwing
don't know
the
how to use
nunchucks.
weapons in this movie. Nobody's even twirled the nunchucks.
Yeah.
not even that. You got two people holding guns on you, so you throw a sword at them? What the fuck, man? Okay, best case scenario, you hit one of them. You know what happens after you hit one of them? You are perforated like fucking Swiss cheese by the other one.
However,
But no!
if you hit the man, you know the blonde with the big Joker gun, the only thing coming out of there is a big red sign that says bang. So if you hit the guy, you're good to go.
So they blow Chang out the window, and
He
falls
blows
to his
Chang
death.
out the window.
He does.
She forgets where the trigger is and isn't able to pull it all the way.
So,
He almost loses his ascot on the way down.
Well, it just sucks because I was expecting him to get shot by a rocket launcher.
Now, as a person with no experience in law enforcement, does killing someone's henchmen give you the legal right to go up to their building, guns loaded, to arrest them for what? What is he being arrested for? What proof do they have that he's done anything? Where's the logic
How'd
behind
they
them
find
going
out
up
it
to
was
his
him?
building?
He didn't have a permit for that little helicopter.
Or he also did not have the proper training and permit to throw a katana like a darts.
You want to hear a fucked up police story?
Please.
No.
I'll
Please,
tell you a
Alan.
story of how I got a $500 ticket this week. So, I'm driving to not go get drugs, and I see this cop, and he looks just like the cop that pulled me over like 2 months ago and gave me... He was such a dick. And so I flipped him off. And he looks at me, and he gives me a stink eye, and I go on my way. And there's another motorcycle cop like half a block further, and I'm looking at my rearview mirror, and he pops up like a fucking meerkat. Like, oh, what's going on? And he's searching all these cars, and he finally sees me, and I'm thinking, like, what the fuck is going on now? And so I take a right because he jumps on his bike again. I was figuring maybe I could get out of the way. But no, he pulls me over. And I apparently have bad tags while flipping off policemen. And then the skinny guy comes up and he's like, we're not pulling you over because you flipped me off, which number one's a fucking lie. But number two, it wasn't even the cop that pulled me over in the first place. So I had flipped off the guy for no reason, and I got pulled over for no fucking reason. And then I tell that to the main chubby cop that pulled me over, and he then takes 10 minutes to explain to me how great God is.
Oh my God.
And that he looks after him and the other officers because Jesus is great.
And then he wrote you a $500 ticket.
Yeah, and then I got a $500 ticket.
Were your tags
I
expired?
was like, wow, this is the craziest thing I've ever had happen to me in Hillsborough.
Was it written on a chick track?
I don't know. It was really weird. Like, I had to sit
did he
there and be
offer?
like, yeah, awesome, dude. Totally cool.
Did you offer to go to church with him so he'd waive the ticket?
I don't know.
It's $500, dude. I know it's a trip to church.
I would have
but-
fucking
like I
said,
said-
hey, I accept Jesus into my heart, like right then and there.
I didn't want to say anything because my registration was bad, and technically they can tow your ass.
Yeah.
And so what do I want to be like? Fuck Jesus, later. No, I just wanted to be like, hey, you go and have a good day, crazy cop guy, and please let me not get towed.
Did you tell him you were delivering eggs to your pagan god for Easter?
No, I had my camera in the car, so I was like, I'm a graphic design student. I'm going to take pictures of buildings.
Taking pictures of me flipping off cops.
But that was
It's an
also
art-
the first time a
art
police
project.
officer ever asked me what I was doing, which I also thought weird. He's
They'll
like,
ask
what are
you
you
what you're
doing?
doing.
I was
That's
like,
what you're doing.
that's the first time I've ever been asked what
Where
I'm
you going?
doing.
Where you
Yeah,
going
like,
today?
I got asked
Where
that
you going?
because I got pulled over for like eating like food in the car.
You can't do that.
Because I'm a fat bastard and I like to eat food in the car. I was driving and like I'm driving and then I go to dip my jalapeno cheddar things because those are delicious fucking things. Jalapeno cheddar thing.
Wait,
In my
are
red
you
sauce.
saying those are better than the breakfast taco?
They
The
are.
waffle taco?
They are awesome, man. They just burn a little in your mouth, but they taste so delicious. Anyway, so I go and I dip that in my sauce. And this is actually
My-
a container
my
of
sauce,
sauce,
I
not
hope
the
you
sauce
mean.
that he's thinking of right now because I knew that was coming. I was going to preempt his motherfucking ass. Okay,
You knew
so
that
I'm
was
dipping it
coming.
in my sauce. Yes, I knew it was coming. I dip it in my sauce, and the cop pulls me over. And he's like, you were going 3 miles over the speed limit, but that's not why I pulled you over. I pulled you over because when I looked at you, you were eating your thing, and it was obviously distracting you from the road. And I was like, yes, because it's so delicious, officer. I was distracted.
Here, try it.
I apologize.
Now he's addicted
Did
to
he
it.
give you a ticket?
I'm a very hungry man, officer. I must eat. I must eat or I
how
will
bad
stop.
am I that I gotta be enjoying this
citation
sandwich
for
so
this shit?
fucking much?
Did you get a ticket?
I got a ticket only because my insurance wasn't in my car. Because I got like the insurance thing, but I don't have a printer,
Yeah.
so it doesn't do me a lot of good to put it in my car that way because I can never print the thing out. But yeah, I had to go into the courthouse and provide my proof of insurance, and they waived the whole thing off, which I did during like Oregon's only snowstorm in the last like 15 years. This was the day I had off to go do my ticket, so I'm like, go downtown, and I trudge around for an hour because I don't know where the fucking places I'm supposed to do this at. And everything's closed, and it's snowing, and I'm a very fat man walking through the snow, and I didn't have any jalapeno cheddar peppers with me while I was walking around in the snow.
warm you
So
from the cold.
it was very depressing.
But Craig, do you think if you were walking down with jalapeno cheddar dipperoos or whatever,
Life would have been okay.
no, I think you would have gotten pulled over by a cop again and given another citation.
I would have been jaywalking with my cheddar peppers, distracted by the fact that it was...
The last time I got pulled over, I was going 77 and 55, and it was one of the Polk County Sheriff's Office, and he pulled me over, and he poked his head through. He's like, "Do you know how fast you were going?" He's like, "Oh, fuck, Gabe," because he knows me. And then he goes, "Slow down!" And then he walked back to his car and drove off.
Guess you're a regular at the prison, right?
I appreciate it. And then he got fired the next week.
Wow, for that?
No, he got fired for...
diddling kids?
Banging gals he was investigating.
Oh, that happens.
Man, that reminds me, at the old apartments I was at, there was this cop car that would always come and
it was his third strike, by the way.
Wow. This cop car would always come and like freaking just park like right in this dark corner in my apartment complex, and I'm like, he's got to be getting a blowjob from a hooker.
He was looking for dealers, probably.
Yeah.
So anyway, the last thing about this movie.
In the Vice Squad.
Yeah.
Paul knows he has a ponytail now.
Yeah.
Paul's an
last thing
undercover
about
cop.
this
Thanks,
movie.
Lieutenant Douche.
So Taryn has recovered these diamonds, and since technically she's not a member of the organization, she decides she's going to keep them. The only question I have left about this movie is, why does Rowdy call Donna kiddo at the end of the movie when she's clearly 25 years older than him?
We don't know.
So did you guys like this movie? Did you guys like this
I liked this movie.
Yeah.
This podcast could have gone better, but I liked this movie.
This is the
Never
first
worked it out
time the
for me.
movie's been more entertaining than the podcast.
Yeah.